at kind of the first approximation, you would say yes. I mean, if we're going to limit the group of players to friendly countries, and if we're going to replace supply coming from Russia or China or other countries, as the case may be, we're going to have to open up new facilities ourselves. And so that means new factories, new investment, but new mines, et cetera, and new energy sources. Having said that, that vector, and it's a powerful one, and a logical one, runs head on into the climate alarmists and the Green New Deal, which I call the Green New Scam. So should the U.S. expand production of oil and natural gas? Absolutely. Absolutely. We have a lot of unused capacity and a lot of reserves. And I'm not saying deal Saudi Arabia out of the equation, but if you're going to replace Russian natural gas, you better get the fracking industry in the United States geared up. And I'm not sure quite what the status is in Australia, but build more liquid natural gas vessels, build more liquid natural gas terminal facilities, which basically are big freezers, so you can keep it in a liquid form. So that's just all common sense, and the capital is available to do that. But then the greenies come along and say, well, no, we've got to go to alternatives. We've got to go to renewables, wind turbines, solar modules. We can't have oil and natural gas. And so at a time when you would think the solution would, build the Keystone Pipeline, get the oil from Alberta and Canada to the U.S. hub. I think it's in Kansas or Nebraska, one of the central states, so it can be distributed around the United States. They say, no, we got to shut the Keystone Pipeline. The interesting thing about it, and it just shows how ideology triumphs over common sense for a lot of these people, the oil is still coming from Alberta to the United States. It's coming by rail. Which is about the dirtiest way you could move it. Whereas one of the benefits of pipelines is that it's you build them, but once you build them, it's very, very clean. They don't emit energy in the course of transporting the oil and natural gas. By the way, guess who owns the railroad? The Burlington Northern Railroad, Warren Buffett. So he knew what he was doing about, I guess, 12, 15 years ago when he bought the Burlington Northern Railroad, because they're moving on his, a train of tanker cars. Oil tanker, it's a pipeline on wheels. I mean, it looks like a pipeline with couplings, and they just move it down the tracks. But why not build a pipeline? Well, that's too logical for the climate alarmists. I might even be on their side a little if there was any science behind it, but there isn't. If you the United Nations comes out with these 700-page international climate change convention. Forget the exact acronym reports. They update them every 5 years. I actually get them. They're great doorstops, but I do read them. I can't say I've read them cover to cover. I've read a lot of them because I do research in the area. And what you find is that, page upon page of hysteria, end of the world, et cetera. And then somewhere around page 600 in a footnote, 9.5 says, by the way, we're not really sure of any of this. And, it may not play out as we project, et cetera. So they cover themselves. But the truth is, objective scientists using better methods will tell you that there's something going on. It deserves study, but it's not existential. It's nowhere near an imminent crisis. We're not really sure. Is there a little more CO2 in the atmosphere? Yes. Is it all man-made? No. Is it the leading cause of global warming? Well, first of all, is the world really warming? It's pretty cold spring where I am. But you go worldwide, the global warming, it might have been a mild global warming trend that ended in the late 1990s, but that seems to have reversed. I've spoken to experts, and including some in Australia. They said, Jim, you have to understand the people doing this whole rig, they put the thermometers in parking lots, where the asphalt bakes it to like 190 degrees Fahrenheit. And I've actually taken the time to study how climatological models are built. Now, I know a lot about complexity theory and model building, but I hadn't built a climate model. So I said, well, I'll learn about that. And I did. I don't want to kind of go on and belabor it, but when you understand how the climate models are built, and when you understand complexity theory, rule number one is minuscule changes in initial conditions can produce exponential differences in outcomes because of recursive functions. And you say, at 10 miles in the atmosphere, a 1 mile thick pancake layer of 1 square mile in Africa something happens, but you purport to tell me what that does to ice in Antarctica. It's if you understand the computational complexity and how complexity theory works and all the things that are very, very hard to define, on a good day, and doing this properly, if you could, which you cannot, exceeds the computational capacity of the world. It does. There aren't enough computers in the whole world to run this math, if you could even construct it.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
I have bad news for you. If you're not rich by now, you're screwed. And if you're in debt, you're even double screwed. How so, you might wonder? Well, the sad truth is that you're working your whole life to make someone else rich. The mega corporations, the banks, the politicians, everyone is getting richer. They get your money. And what is even worse, they get your time, they get your life. You are not even in a rat race, you're in a financial prison. But what could a solution for you look like? Honestly, I don't know, but I know what a solution for me would look like. It's very simple. I use whatever money I have and I multiply it with 1,000. This could make my life much easier and probably yours as well. If you have $1,000 available and multiply this with 1,000, I believe that this could solve some financial issue for the one or the other. Of course, if you're ugly, you would have to multiply it with much more than 1,000. My name is Markus Dahn, and this is what I decided to do. I decided to 1000x my money. This is not a joke. I know what you may be thinking. What is this guy talking about? How should this work? This is not possible. Well, I made a detailed video where I laid out my plan. And some clever folks might even want to look at this plan and copy it and do exactly what I do. This is just a little hint on the side. You have two options. You leave, you forget what you have seen. You do whatever you're doing and you hope that somehow you get some other results. Good luck with that. Or you click the link below the video. You enter your email address because I'm not showing this to everybody. You at least watch my video on how I plan to 1000x my money. The choice is yours. Make the right choice. Join me. See what a different future you could have. See at least how I plan to do the 1000x. So click on the link below, enter your email address, and I see you on the other side. Your Markus Dahn.